title of today's discussion is The Art of Divine Remembrance. The Art of Divine Remembrance. Okay, let me make sure Instagram's good. Damn, it's a delay. All right, here we go. So the first quote that we're going to talk about two quotes. Number one is going to be a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us," meaning the past and the future. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Number two, the Buddha. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Okay, so I think we did this discussion maybe about a month ago. So that should be a familiar quote. And we've talked about that quote on several different lives. But as you know, we can always hit a new perspective. Okay, it's always a new perspective. It's always a new moment. We're always in a new universe, always in a new reality. Okay, let's get into it. To love yourself is not an act of vanity. It is an act of remembrance. It is the soul turning inward and recognizing the divine current that has never stopped flowing. We often spend our lives searching for love in faces, in places, in moments, in circumstances, in validation, forgetting that the search itself begins and ends in the one who searches. The search itself begins and ends in the one who searches. When you love yourself, you do not inflate the ego. You dissolve the illusion of separation. You return to the source, to the sacred pulse of God within your own heart, where all creation begins. So this is what we're going to talk about. Returning to the truth, returning to the divine center of the universe, which is you. You are the divine center of the universe. Now, I'm not trying to push this as some kind of ego trip, as you all know, but I want to make it clear in case you're fresh in the game, right? When we say love yourself, what we're really saying is know yourself as love. Not love yourself as in take a bubble bath and do your nails, right? And take pictures and selfies and go out for a nice dinner. That's nice, right? Those are beautiful experiences that you should enjoy. When we say know yourself as love, what does that mean? It just means because you are God, you are the center of love. You are the wellspring of love. Okay? You just are made of love. This entire reality is made of love. And the center of it is you. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about loving yourself. I don't care about your bubble baths or your scrub-a-dub-dub routines. None of that. Okay? You simply know yourself as love. Now, what if I don't feel that way? What if I have anxiety or fear or doubt or frustration or what? It doesn't matter. Okay? You being love is just what? It's just the truth. You being love is just the truth. That's it. It is just the truth. So here we go. For God is not merely love. God is the act of loving through you. So now we're going to define in terms of God what love is, okay? God is not merely love. God is the act of loving through you. So now that you are made manifest, God is love, right? God is merely love, right? But now that you are made manifest, because you are sitting in the center of creation, God, okay, is the act of loving through you. Beautiful. Every moment of compassion, every whisper of forgiveness, every tear of gratitude. These are not your emotions alone. They are the movements of God expressing itself as you. To withhold love from yourself. Okay, hear this part. To withhold love from yourself is to deny God a channel through which to flow. But when you open the heart and say, I am worthy, you do not become divine, right? Because you've always been divine. You remember the truth that you have always been, okay? You remember the truth that you have always been. So let's get into it a little bit more, right? So the mind of God, where all already exist. Here we go. We all stand within the mind of God, where everything already exists. There is nothing to create. only the sacred act of remembering. Your desires are simply a remembrance of who you already are. Right? It's just a remembrance of who you already are. Okay? The mind creates this abyss that we have to cross. The heart collapses that abyss. What does that mean? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Okay? So the mind, when we look at desires through the mind, right? When we try to logic our way into being in alignment, right? We try to logic our way to our desires. The mind creates this abyss. Well, it has to click a little bit more. I just don't get it. Maybe with coaching, maybe with a video, maybe with a book, maybe with this, maybe with that. So the mind creates this dark, deep abyss that you have to cross, but the heart collapses it. What could I possibly mean by that? Pop quiz time. What could that possibly mean? We've been talking about it a lot lately. A hint. At this point, right? I don't want you to be dependent on anybody. Okay? I don't want you to be dependent on me, on a book, on anything. All right? I want you to know this shit like the back of your hand. Know it. Accept it as the truth. I want you to know this shit. All right? So what does it mean when I say, if you have a desire, prosperity for a specific person, the mind, right? If you try to intellectualize, I have it. If you try to make yourself believe, damn it, I just gave away the answer. But anyways, if the mind tries to have it, it's going to create this gap. It's going to say, well, maybe after the next technique. Well, things just don't look right. Well, maybe after the next video. Well, maybe after the next coaching session, right? So the mind creates this abyss, but the heart collapses the abyss. What is the difference between the mind and the heart in this example? How does the heart collapse the abyss? How does the heart? Yeah, we go, Ashley. Look at that. Okay, Ashley, that's what I'm talking about, right? 5 points for Ashley, okay? At the end of the live, you can cash in your points for money. I don't know who's going to give you the money, but you can cash in the points for money. I got you. All right. So yes, 5. So the heart is the knowing. The mind in its ego tries to what? Intellectually understand this. Well, I just don't get what I'm doing wrong. I just don't know it. I have doubt. Of course, those are aspects of the mind. You don't see it in front of you. You don't see that specific person in front of you. Of course, it's natural to have doubts. But the doubt and the belief are irrelevant. We go straight to the what? To the truth. The truth is that I am that I am. It's that I am God. Therefore, everything that I desire is already within me. It's already mine. So the heart collapses the distance. Right? Remember, me being source, me saying, I have this thing, I have this prosperity, I have this person. It's not something to intellectually understand. It's something to just accept as a fact. And what's the next step when we accept it as a fact? There was a beautiful question that somebody asked on a comment, and I'm going to have a video response that I'm going to post. But he said, man, I constantly find myself fighting the mind. It's hard for me not to identify with thoughts. It's hard for me to just watch the thoughts and not identify with them. So let's talk about this logically. Let's make this practical, okay? You have accepted as a fact, not as a fact, right? As the truth. You have it. Let's not get into semantics. My bad. I don't want to get into semantics, all right? You have accepted as an absolute fact or an absolute truth, the truth that you are God. That right now, if you are God, everything that you desire is already yours. That person, that money, that experience, whatever, okay? So you've accepted it as the truth. That's the core of your being now. All right? Now, the ego mind up here still might say what? Oh, I don't see it. Well, what I have doubt or anxiety or I fear or this or that or that or that or this. Okay, cool. Now, how do you get to the point where you can observe those thoughts and say, they're just thoughts? Well, first of all, you have to bring yourself into the present moment. Okay? Why would you accept anything as fact? You bring yourself back to this present moment. Okay? So the first thing that you do is you ground yourself. You bring yourself here. You ground yourself. Now, I don't mean you have to do a large technique. How can you ground yourself? My technique is one breath in, and I posted it on the Telegram today. It was one breath in, I am God. One breath out, I decide. Boom. Grounded. I'm back into the present moment just like that. Now, what do I do from here? I simply know that I'm God. I'm still. It develops that clarity within me. And from this clarity, now I know that my thoughts are what? My thoughts are automatic. They're mechanical. They're conditioned. They're not personal. They don't mean me any harm. They're just a mechanism that fires off. They just fire off. 1 minute I'm thinking about Stranger Things. The next minute I'm thinking about that ex that I thought I forgot about. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about her ass, literally. Okay, the next minute I'm thinking about this or that or that. The thoughts are just flowing. They just fire off. Okay? But when I am present, now I can just what? I can just observe them. I don't have to identify with anything. So what I do is I become the gatekeeper. Right? I become the gatekeeper where I decide, okay, I'll identify with this. I won't identify with that. This works for me. That don't. And then when I get caught up in the illusion, I bring myself back. I am God. I decide. Boom. And now what? I do the same thing over, and it gets easier and easier and easier to where now I'm overthinking less, quote unquote, overthinking less, whatever that means, right? I've brought myself back. I've trained this vessel, this body, right, to be more in the present moment, in my point of power. And the more present you are, the easier it is to observe. When you're caught up in the past, you've been drugged into the past by the mind. You're not observing your thoughts. You're living them. You get drugged into the future with your mind. You're not observing your thoughts. You're living them. Okay? When you're constantly distracted by all of these different, you're not observing. You're simply absorbing everything, right? But the more that we can be still and know, right? And when we talk about be still, we're not saying that you got to sit around like a monk. Some of y'all will be terrible monks. Okay? Horrible. Right? Horrible. I'm just playing. Y'all all be great monks. Some of y'all. Right? So it's not saying that you got to sit around like a monk in meditation 24/7. It means stillness and clarity. Stillness and clarity. Give yourself the clarity in this moment by grounding yourself. By sitting down right now in this moment. Okay? So I just gave you a practical guide, right? If you don't get it, go to YouTube and rewatch this back, right? I just gave you a practical step-by-step guide of how to get to the point where you can observe your thoughts. All right, cool. Let's go a little bit further. Here we go. All right, we all stand within the mind of God. We all stand within the mind of God where everything already exists. There is nothing to create, only the sacred art of remembering. Creation is not a process of making something out of nothing. It is awakening to the truth that nothing has ever been missing. Now, there was another comment. I should have wrote it down because when I read it earlier this morning, I was like, oh, that's going to be a good point to talk about. Matter of fact, let me find it. It was a YouTube comment. It was a very good comment because their answer was in the comment. The answer was in the comment. They were asking a question, and it was from a little bit of frustration, you know what I'm saying, which is all good. We're all here to learn. It wasn't ill intention or anything like that at all. But it was here we go. Here it is. All right. So it says, now I'm confused again. All right. Do I, as being itself, get to choose to be the one who has her? Or do I have to come to know myself as wanted despite feeling lonely? And then somehow magically stop trying to get close to her and then wait for days, weeks, months in the presence of illusory but very felt longing until magically what I thought I wanted, but always were, but couldn't experience, but don't care about not experiencing, appears so I can experience the illusion of having what I want. All right, cool. I understand. Okay. I understand it. I get it. Right. And so, of course, the response was just, you already know the answer based on the question. You just choose. Okay. You just choose. Okay. Now, I want to be very clear. Okay. When does presence become your greatest weapon, your greatest asset? Okay. I want to be clear with this. Okay. Because I don't want to cause any confusion, but understand, you don't need to get everything that I'm saying. Right? I give a new perspective every day in all this that there is. Okay? I give a new perspective because we're all new in every moment. So there's always a new perspective to dive into. But you don't have to understand this shit front to back. You ain't got to read the book to get it. You just need to what? Know that it's already yours and accept that as the absolute truth of who you are right now and allow it to unfold. Why do we talk about presence though? Because most people's mind causes them so much suffering. Most people walk around and suffer all day. They're constantly pulled into the past that they don't like. They're constantly fearful about a future or thinking about a future that's tormenting them. If I can just get there, then I will be happy. They never are in the present moment. They're constantly trying to manage emotions and thoughts and feelings. Most people are absolutely tortured. Well, a lot of people, I ain't gonna say most. A lot of people are absolutely tortured by their mind. So when we talk about presence, I'm not talking about it as some grand requirement, as though you have to get to the point where you don't want anything and detach from the world and meditate on a mountain. Don't eat for 10 days and then you can get what you want. Presence allows you to reconnect with your power. Your power is in this present moment. Okay? It is where you can get to fulfillment. This is simply about the core foundational truth that you are God. There is only one. There is all unity. That's it. Okay. This is what this conversation is talking about. Now, once you understand this, you can build whatever you want on there. But now you have this foundation to where, okay, if I'm not overly obsessed with the past, and my mind's not being drugged into the past by shit that I don't want to experience anymore. And now I'm also fearful, like, oh shit, just because I thought about it, that must mean I'm going to get it. Now I have to act like I don't want it. We put all of these conditions and rules in place, okay? Which is us just simply trying to chase the mind around instead of us getting in the front, okay? The truth is that I am God. That is the fulfillment. Let me back up. Let me pause, right? Because you get in your bedroom. Don't care. I don't care how many experiences you have, how much money you accumulate. The soul's desire, okay? The desire of the soul is to know itself as the divine. It's to know itself. And so even this desire that you have for things, at the core of it, it's not that you really want that thing. You think you want that thing, but what you really want is to know that you are God. You want to create. You want to choose. Now, okay? Now, if that is the case, then it will never matter how many things you acquire. You will not find fulfillment and validation in the external world. You won't find it out there. You'll constantly be hungry. You'll constantly want more. We know that desire leads to more desire. Desire. It just goes on. Where do you actually find fulfillment? You find fulfillment in knowing that you are the divine. In knowing that you are God. In knowing that reality unfolds through you. Why? Because your spirit meets itself. Because this is God recognizing itself as God and realizing it doesn't need anything. And so now I want you to really think about this journey that you've been on. At one point, well, right now you still are, all right? But I'm gonna talk about this in the form of concessions as a metaphor. We know that there's only one. We know that you cannot be disconnected from the divine. But hear this perspective, okay? So at one point, you were in complete oneness with everything, with the divine bliss. And then you made a choice to descend into bone and flesh and blood. Okay? And then you forgot. So now your little soul, it falls down, right? And your mom and dad, they got it on, right? They created this little avatar. And then you dove into the pineal gland of that avatar. You animated that body, boom. And then the spirit of the God, the spirit of the Most High flowed over the waters in your mother's womb, like they say in Genesis. And all of a sudden her water broke and here you came out. And then you went on this journey. Now, some people do remember their birth, but most don't. And so you go through this journey as a child, right? Just being programmed by everybody. This is a dense place, so it takes you a while to acclimate. Most people's first memories aren't the time they popped out. It took you a little while for you to kind of get your bearings, right? So you might go a couple years. You might get to 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, however old you were. And then all of a sudden, what do parents say? They say, my child used to give me all the love. And then all of a sudden, they started acting a little different. All of a sudden, they wanted independence. They didn't want to kiss you as much. They didn't want to hug you as much, right? That little soul is starting to wake up and want to do its own thing. Oh, I'm the creator. I want to figure this out. You have a longing to make your own way, to find yourself. What is this longing? What are you searching for? And so we go to jobs. Feel fulfillment in here, but we go to relationships. The bliss of being with somebody who sees you as the divine. But I mean, if you're just in a relationship to get validated, it don't matter how much validation you get. They'll never give you the fulfillment that you truly desire. You'll always want more and more and more. You'll be a leech. You'll turn into a vampire. Then you have children, right? People even seek validation in their children. I just hope that I'm a good parent. They're my world. Now, I'm not saying anything is wrong with this, but we are creatures that are constantly seeking meaning, seeking a deep purpose, seeking something to make us feel just connected. And we reach and we strive and we strive and we reach. But the true desire, what is the first desire? It is God wanting to experience itself through the illusion of all this, through itself. God wanting to experience itself through itself. So it has this desire to descend into matter, to descend into the illusion. And thus man was made, humanity or whatever planet or reptilian or whatever the case. Entities were created to host the divine. Absolutely beautiful. And so now every desire that you have it's an image of that first desire to know itself. I am all that there is, and now I want to know myself as all that there is. And so now you have this constant desire to know yourself. But when we outsource that desire to things out there and we're like, well, the person will make me feel fulfilled. The money will make me feel fulfilled. That thing, that validation, and it never does. It always just leaves you wanting more. It's good for a second, but it leaves you wanting more. And the only thing that can fulfill you is the knowing that you are source. That is the fulfillment. It's the knowing that you're source. It's the knowing that reality unfolds through me. I am reality. And all of this is what it is, but I am that I am. I've never been disconnected. And this is not an intellectual fulfillment. It is simply an acceptance and a knowing. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Let's go a little bit further. Okay, Genesis 1:31. We talked about this recently, so we're going to talk about it again. Genesis 1:31. When Genesis says God saw everything that he made and behold, it was very good. What does that mean? What does that mean? Behold, it was very good. Remember, when we go to the Hebrew, very good doesn't just mean very good, right? When we talk about it from a human perspective, we're like, oh, very good. Yeah, cool, very good. It's cool, it's nice. Slap hands, right? Very good, all right? When we translate that to the Hebrew, tav miad, right? It means something that is harmonious, whole, and functioning perfectly according to divine order. The second part, that's only the first part. The second part, it means exceedingly, utterly, or abundantly. Infinity is made in infinity. Infinity already exists within infinity. Okay? So when God says very good, says, right? Concession. When God says very good, it's a declaration of total completeness. Right? There was no scribe up there saying, hey God, what are you? We weren't writing that down, right? So but this is what it means. Creation existing in full balance with itself. Nothing missing, nothing extra, everything perfectly aligned in divine harmony. So here it is. Every possibility, every version of you, every desire you could ever imagine. Let me say that one more time. Don't let that go in one ear and out the other. Every possibility. You have that desire. You desire that person, okay? There are infinite ways for you to get there. Within each of those infinite ways, there's another infinite ways. Within each of those other infinite ways, there's another infinite ways. You're never off course. You're never off course. Because if you were even designed, if this vessel is designed for you to quote unquote forget, isn't that baked into the plan? Isn't that baked into the plan? Isn't it? Cool. All right. So here we go. God was not inspecting a project. He was beholding himself. Creation as his reflection. Okay. That's an odd comment, Alyssa. It's a very odd comment, right? First of all, you should be eating. Number two, that sounds off, right? But I am. All your questions are being answered in all these streams. All of them are being answered, right? You're clinging on to this physical reality as the truth when you are the truth. Okay, you're clinging on to this physical reality as the truth, but you are the truth. All right. So, question for all of y'all. Let me go off course a little bit. Let's talk about this shit. All right. Do y'all understand when I say to stop looking at reality as the truth and start looking at reality as reality? Do you understand what I'm saying? I know my YouTube folks do. They always get what I'm saying. Yep, see? I already know. Y'all on TikTok is distracted, taking a shit while you listen to me. I feel you. When I say to look at reality as reality, do you understand what I'm saying? I feel that, Gabby. I feel that. I feel that. All right, cool. Oh, no, we got to know. Okay, cool. So let's do it. What if it's in your present moment now in your face? No, okay. What isn't in your present moment now in your face, right? Look, guys, okay? Let me be very clear. Let me slow down and let's get through this, because hopefully this helps somebody. Hopefully this helps a lot of people, all right? We've had several conversations where we talk about your thoughts not being important, your emotions not being important, the circumstances not being important. Okay. Now, why are they not important? They're not important because you're bigger than them. It's because you are all that there is. If you think about this one single moment is like a single pick. It's like a single drop within an ocean, an infinite ocean. All right. And that infinite ocean, which is you, it moves that drop. That single drop does not move the ocean. Okay? Now, let me think about it like this, all right? Everything unfolds from within you. Okay? Because you're God. You're reality. Now, what makes reality out there real? What makes it real? Other than it being a real experience, what makes what's out there the truth? Your decision, your identification with it. You saying, oh, well, because I see this, this is who I must be. So it doesn't matter if something is in the past. It doesn't matter if something is right in front of you. Understand this. If God, which is reality, is all that there is, what do you not expect to see? If all that there is all that there is, that means you can see everything out there. So it's not about you sitting here and controlling every situation, trying to find meaning in everything. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Doesn't matter. Get your mind off of that, of things out there. Okay? I'm gonna let your mind go there if you want to suffer. Okay? Get your focus off of trying to identify with those and figure out what you did wrong, and start to determine who you are through the situation. I keep stumbling, I keep stuttering because I'm trying to talk slower because I really want this to sink in. Sometimes y'all say I talk too damn fast. All right? When you stop trying to identify yourself with the circumstance, oh, because this happens, it's not working out. When you stop doing that and you actually sit in the truth that I am reality, when you understand that you are reality, now you can react different to that circumstance. You don't get to decide how every single thing unfolds, but you get to decide who you are through every circumstance. And that is what changes the circumstance. Your being, your perspective through it cuts through the time, it cuts through circumstances, it carves through reality. Your perspective, your presence, your knowing that you are the creator cuts down circumstances, completely collapses timelines. The illusion crumbles based on your perception and your perspective. But if you have outsourced your truth, if you've outsourced your power to the physical reality, you're constantly walking around here, you're just looking for something to save you from the situation out there. Somebody's words, somebody's video, somebody else, something out there to save you from that situation. You're making that situation bigger than the God that you are. You are the creator. You are at the center of reality. You are the tree trunk. Everything that you see out there is not even a branch. It's not even a leaf. It's just an ant on the edge of the leaf, on the tip of the leaf. And any breeze can blow it away. It's always changing. It's always dying. It's always falling off. And then something new is coming. It's irrelevant. You are the truth. Even saying it was an ant is too big. It's a speck of dust on the tip of a leaf. Matter of fact, it's a speck of dust on top of a speck of dust, on top of a leaf, at the edge of the longest branch. It's meaningless. You give it meaning though, right? We start attaching to these things and we make false idols out of them. Oh, but reality is in my face. Okay. But who are you? And I understand. Sometimes we can say, look, well, Alex, it's harder, right? Sometimes it's just difficult when situations are in front of me. I get it. But that's the case for everybody. Alyssa, you're talking crazy. You're talking crazy, man. Look, This is why coming into this manifestation space, and I'm so careful, especially when we start talking about specific people, but coming into this space from lack, man, I always warn against it, right? If you cannot grasp the concept that you're a source, that you're the center of reality, and you're just trying to get this SP, I'm going to highly advise. I'm going to highly advise for you to get over that person. Highly advise it. If it's about remembering that you are the divine, okay, and then going from there. Alyssa, you're venting. You're not listening to me. All right, we'll move on from that. All right, so every possibility. All right, here we go. Every possibility, every version of you, every desire you could ever imagine already exists within that eternal goodness, right? So when we imagine everything, all that there is, right? So we have all that there is. And it said that it was very good in its whole, it's complete, it's harmonious, it's all that there is. It is all that there is. And you sit within this. Okay? You sit within this. Okay? So when you awaken to this truth, you stop treating life as a problem to solve and start recognizing it as a perfection to remember. You are living inside the same it is very good. You're living inside that same reality that God named as very good. Okay? It's not that I'm upset with the SP. It's just that I'm going to get off of flow. I'm going to get out of flow and I'm not going to be able to deliver the right message. It's not that I'm over it. I mean, but I've been very clear with that message from the start, right? That's why I don't go into all kinds of techniques. That's why I don't go into all these techniques and all these different things, is because this is the core. This is what you're looking for anyway. If you're getting into this and you're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to try to manifest them, and you're not understanding the core of who you are, and you're doing all this shit from lack, and you're sitting around affirming from lack, visualizing from lack, call them, text them, beg for them back. That's not manifestation, y'all. You're just trying to do things out of desperation to get something. It would be irresponsible for me to slap you on the ass and say, keep going down that path. Because all you're going to do is hurt yourself and drive yourself crazy. The knowing that they are yours comes after the knowing that you are reality. The knowing that they are within you, therefore there is nowhere that they can go, comes after the knowing that you're reality. On what foundation are you trying to get? If you're sitting there and you're trying to manifest them without knowing that they're within you, without knowing that you are the process, you are the technique, you are the power, what are you doing? You're praying. That's the same as you going to church every day and shouting prayers, lighting a candle at church. It's the same thing. You yelling affirmations all day until your face is blue, looking for the next technique. You go to church. So it's about getting beyond the techniques and the desperate pleading and walking you right back into your divine fucking power. The knowing that you are source. That person is within you. Therefore, they cannot leave. Anything outside of that, right? It's an irresponsible message. It's an irresponsible message. I would be selling you hope. I'd be selling you hope. All right. So let's get back to that truth. We're going to get back to that truth. And then we can talk about that stuff. But without this foundation, if I'm saying, look, your source, they're within you. And you're like, oh, but the reality looks like this. And you're not going to the truth. You continue to stay out there in reality. And for you to get them in your reality, you have to collapse that by knowing they're within you. You can only do that by moving to the truth that they are you. You collapse them into your reality by understanding reality's always been within you. You pull your power back by remembering who you are. The peace that goes beyond understanding. This is what we're talking about. The peace that goes beyond understanding, right? So it's, man, look, it's about, okay, if this non-duality conversation is such a core foundational piece of this, because I truly believe that if you're just looking for techniques and you're just looking for ways, and this is when it becomes really damaging, because I've been there, right? Where it's, this question is always the one that gets me. It's, well, I'm just hurting right now. I'm trying to get over the pain. How do I get through this pain so I can get them? That's the one that really gets me. And I'm like, come on, y'all. You're not even going to allow yourself to grieve just because you cannot see life without this person. And at that point, right, we start, if I start leading you down that path, that's just going to lead to more and more problems. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go down that route. Your feelings are fine. They've never been the problem. It's the identification with them as do you understand how damaged, let's drop the reality creation. Do you understand how damaging that mindset is? I can't even grieve a loss right now. I have to pretend to be happy. I have to force myself into be happy just to get somebody out there. Just to get somebody to walk into my life to make me feel better about myself. Do you see how dangerous that view is? And you see where it could potentially lead people. So that Band-Aid approach is just not, we can't do that. We can't do that around here, right? If you want that approach, you have to go somewhere else. You have to. These conversations are not about Band-Aids. It's about pushing you to your power, pushing you. But you have to walk through the door, right? You have to walk through the door, right? And I say all of this with love. I'm not saying this because I'm angry or anything like that. I ain't angry. I'm saying this with love. I'm saying this because I love you. I'm saying this because I'm trying to give a responsible message, all right? Trying to keep this shit responsible. I don't need any of y'all, you know what I'm saying, going down that I don't want any of y'all, I don't need shit, but I don't want any of y'all going down a irresponsible path. Okay? Cool. All right, my loves, let's get back into it. My gods, my goddesses. Cool. Absolutely right, man. Right? But we're going to keep opening that door. We're going to keep opening that door. As many people that want to walk through, you know what I'm saying? They're going to walk through. They're going to walk through, and it's beautiful on the other side. As you all know. It's nice over here. It's beautiful over here. All right, so let me back up a little bit. We're going to get into this. So Genesis 1:31. God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Now, from a human consciousness, we hear very good and we think it was cool, it was all right. But what very good means is what? When we translate it to the Hebrew, tav miad. The original Hebrew phrase is tav miad. Tav means something that is harmonious, whole, and functioning perfectly according to divine order. Miad means exceedingly, utterly, or abundantly. So when God says very good, it's a declaration of total completeness. Perfect. Absolute perfection. Okay? Creation existing in full balance with itself. Nothing missing, nothing extra, everything perfectly aligned in divine harmony. After that moment, ain't nothing being created. It's all done. Every possibility, it's done. Every possibility, every version of you, every desire you could ever imagine already exists within that eternal goodness. God was not inspecting a project when he said very good. He was beholding himself, creation as his reflection. The moment he saw, quote unquote, saw, awareness and existence became one. Awareness and existence merge into you. This is the metaphysical creation of you. Very good. As soon as God beholds itself and merges within itself, right? This collapses into you. All right? There was nothing left to fix, improve, or chase. When you awaken to this truth, you stop treating life as a problem to solve and begin recognizing it as a perfection to remember. You are living right now in this moment as that same it is very good. Even, here's a gem right here, even what appears broken in your life is part of a greater wholeness that your limited sight cannot yet perceive. The practice then is not to force change, but to align with divine vision, to see as God sees. When you say it is good, you agree with the infinite. You step back into the original frequency of completion. And from that awareness, life unfolds in harmony with the truth that it already is. The truth that it already is. Appreciate you. Okay? So do you understand that? Whether you do it or not, I'm going to break it down a little bit more. All right? So the practice then. What is the practice? Not to force change. Okay? Give reality permission to be what it is. The same spirit, the same God that flows through that situation is the same spirit that rearranges itself from within you to give you what you want. That same negative $34. I think the Chase overdraft charge used to be like negative $34. I used to constantly be having them motherfuckers. That overdraft fee, shit. I was used to it. I used to plan my budget. Well, I didn't have a budget back then. I used to plan my brokenness around my negative $34. That same negative 34 that is in that bank account rearranges, that same substance that makes that up, rearranges to give you that 100K, that 10K, that million. The same substance. It's all done. It's all very good, right? So there's nothing being created. It's all just being rearranged. Where's the origin of that rearranging? Hey, I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but blessings. Where's the origin of that rearranging? It's within your divine ass. It's within your divine ass. You are the divinest of asses. Have you accepted that yet? Have you accepted how divine your ass is? Some of y'all, never mind. So here we go. You live inside that finished work, clothed, right? Dressed up in divine imagination, experiencing fragments of the whole through the illusion of time. As the mystic Micah Eckhart said, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me, right? So right there, we add a little more spin to it. Of course, I'm within God, but the same eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. It's all God. It's God looking at itself within itself. The desire comes from God. It's all God, right? How trippy is that? It's all God. God looking at God as God. What's not God? Nothing. It's all God, right? So number 2, the fullness within you. The fullness within you. Here we go. Now, we talked about the whole. We talked about how the universe is all God, right? Now let's break it down. On a smaller level, that fullness of God also dwells within you. And it cannot be divided. How? How does that make sense? Where a piece of God is, the paradox is that all of God must be there as well. The infinite hides within the finite. The ocean lives inside the drop. Do you understand how trippy that is? It's like the inverse of the universe, right? So you have the entire ocean, and then you go down to the smallest drop right in the center, and the entire ocean is in it. And then you take a scoop of the ocean, which includes a whole bunch of different drops, and the entire ocean is within it. But the entire ocean is also within every single drop. And no matter how you divide it or add it up or split it apart, the fullness of God is everywhere. Omnipresent is what we call this. Omnipotent, omniscient. Okay? So the Apostle Paul, well, Paul wrote, all right, in him we live and move and have our being, right? Acts 17:28. Okay? In him we move and live and have our being. Right? So here we go. Don't accept the bad. No. Hold up. Pause, right? Hit the brakes. Pump the brakes. We don't have to accept the bad. We don't accept the bad. Okay? Now, I want you to think about what you're doing when you say that. I have to accept the bad to elevate. So what you're doing is saying that if you feel better about a situation you don't want, hopefully some God will bless you for being a good boy. Hopefully, if I act like I'm grateful for a situation I don't fucking want, well, hopefully some creator will just drop me a blessing. Right? You're trying to treat this like you're your third grade teacher. Right? God is not your third grade teacher. Why do we have gratitude? Why? It's not that I have gratitude for something I don't want. It's that I'm the fulfillment. I know that I'm reality. So the gratitude is not about the shit I don't want. It's that I know because I see the thing that I don't want, I now have clarity on what I do want. And what I do want dwells within me. So I have gratitude for the divine within me, knowing that I'm reality and this situation is not reality. That's what I have gratitude for. I don't have gratitude for the shit I don't like. That makes no sense. Why would I do that? Why would I feel good about a situation I don't like? It's a situation I don't like. The gratitude comes from knowing I'm the fulfillment, knowing I'm reality. Therefore, reality unfolds from within me. Don't make this a bargaining thing, okay? Don't make this a bargaining game with the divine. If I act good about a situation I don't like, well, then I guess, God will reward me for it. Okay? When we're saying everything is good, right? You're still down here judging things, all right? It's all very good to God because God doesn't judge. God doesn't judge. Everything just is. You're still going to have preferences. Now, where does the not judging come in? It comes in with the knowing that whatever I see, when I decide who I am, whatever I see is the path of least resistance towards what I want. I truly trust that I'm breaking this down in a good way. I truly trust that how I'm breaking it down is very good, right? Whole, complete, and harmonious. So this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about gratitude for the sake of gratitude, like gratitude is some bargaining chip. Okay? Gratitude for knowing that you are the divine. And with that knowing, reality what? Flows through you. Yep, and absolutely. Duality is an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Okay? So here we go. So in him we live and move and have our being. This means God is not an external deity floating above the clouds. Right? We start treating God like Santa Claus. That's what it sounds like when we start saying, so I have to just accept the shit I don't want to get the things I do want. You're treating God like Santa Claus. You're trying to get on God's nice list, huh? So maybe he'll sprinkle down a blessing from the North Pole. Right? We're beyond fairy tales here. We're going to the truth of who we are. Okay? So the very conscious. So this means God is not an external deity floating above the clouds, but the very consciousness breathing through your lungs. My bad. I was off you. I was just making a point. Sometimes I just go a little too far. Well, I love you. All right. So Rumi whispered. Here's a quote from Rumi, right? You're not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. All right. And so if you are the entire ocean within a drop, you're not searching for love, for peace, for prosperity. You're remembering that you are the source from which these things flow. That is where your gratitude comes from. I'm not trying to conjure up some fake gratitude for a situation I don't want. I know that because I am God, because God is within me, because I am reality, what I do want flows from within me. So this is only temporary. Thank God. I'm grateful. There's my gratitude right there. All right. So here we go. You are not a fragment lost in an endless sea of creation. You are the totality expressing itself through a single point of awareness. You are the wholeness of God, right? Remember, we've talked about this, the concept of the ego as a prism, right? Where if you ever seen a prism, what a prism does, it might be a cube or a sphere or a pyramid. What it might do, right? Right? Okay. What it might do, right? Is so a prism contains light. So it can just trap all of this light. All right. And then it shoots them out in different directions. You should think of your ego like that. All right. So now you have this beautiful vessel that you are in. Beautiful vessel that you are in. And it contains all the light of the divine, and then it shoots it out in different perspectives. And now you get to experience a single perspective of who you are. Okay? Single perspective of who you are. This is the divinity of that, right? So you are the totality of the divine expressing itself through a single point of awareness. The same intelligence that spins galaxies and breathes life into stars is the very consciousness behind your eyes. To believe you are separate from the whole is like a wave. Here's a gem, right? To believe you are separate from the whole is like a wave believing it is apart from the ocean. Ooh. It's like a wave believing it's apart from the ocean. Every thought, every heartbeat, every breath, every step is the ocean remembering itself through you. You are the creator discovering himself through creation. Absolutely beautiful. Okay? When you stop seeking love, peace, or prosperity, here's the key part, as something external, you begin to awaken to the truth that they have always been flowing from within you. Love is your natural atmosphere, not a visitor that comes and goes. Love is your natural atmosphere. It cannot be pulled or added to you by some seeming illusion, by somebody seemingly leaving out there. It is your atmosphere, right? Peace is not achieved. It's not achieved by controlling situations. It is remembered. Prosperity, right, is not earned. It is expressed. These are all aspects of you just waiting for you to express yourself as them or express them through you. Put it like that. Express them through you. Okay. These qualities are not rewards for spiritual effort. That's also that story of the prodigal son that we've talked about several times. So if you're not aware of the story of the prodigal son, what it's about is there are two sons and there's a father. And remember, all of these things represent different aspects of you. Okay. So there's two sons. The father, of course, represents the father. The older brother, typically when you read parables, the other older brother, you can think of the older brother as the ego. Right? So what actually happens is that the younger brother decides to leave. He says, you know what? I want my inheritance. I'm out. I'm out. So he takes it all and then he wastes it all. And so he's out in the quote unquote world. Now, what does this mean when it comes to consciousness? Because in this story, the younger brother represents us. What does this mean in terms of consciousness? When he takes his inheritance, what could his inheritance possibly mean? Oh, got the puzzle piece. All right, so he takes his inheritance. What could the inheritance possibly mean? Well, there's only one inheritance. It's divine inheritance. It's the knowing that you are source, the knowing that you're God. Okay, boom. So now he takes that. But now he goes to the external world. He goes out. He leaves his father's house. He leaves the knowing that he's God. And he goes out and he squanders it. And he's trying to do all these jobs to make it up, right? But he keeps getting in a lower and a lower place. What does this represent? Us trying to change physical reality by going into physical reality. By trying to manipulate matter. By trying to manipulate matter without knowing that we're God, right? Trying to change shit without knowing who we are, right? It's difficult. And so he gets to a very low place. At a point, he was actually feeding pigs. Now, to any of you, and I know a lot of you, most of you, probably all of you are spiritually inclined. When you hear of pigs, in the spiritual sense, pigs are seen as unclean animals, right? They house like dirty souls, quote unquote dirty souls, right? It's this It's this myth that whether it's true or not, right? I guess that's up to us to decide, right? But they house dirty souls. So this is the meaning of him being in feeding the pigs. His job was feeding the pigs. He was at a low place. Then now when you think he can't get any lower, what does he say? He says, man, if only I wish that I could eat what the pigs were eating. This is how low he got. So it was that remembrance, it was that doubt, right? Of him not being able to get what he wanted. Then he began to look back at his father. Remember, this is his father. And he says, man, even my father's servants have bread left over. What does bread represent? Sustenance, prosperity, right? Jesus multiplying the loaves, it represents prosperity. The knowing that you are source multiplies it because it's you anyway. You are the prosperity, right? So the bread represents sustenance, prosperity. And he said they even have bread left over. And so finally, he picks up his pride and he decides to go back home. What does that represent? You turning back into the knowing that you're source, that you are reality. So it says in scripture, it says, while he was still far off, while he was still a ways off, his father came out and greeted him. Now, to the uninitiated, right, to the mere mortal, which none of us are, they might read this and assume what? They might read this and assume that far off is talking about distance. But this is a book of consciousness. It can't be talking about distance. We know that. It can't be talking about distance. So what does far off mean? It means the Father came out and greeted him even when we were still far off. Explain that, Alex. Well, that means that God still dwells within me even when I don't think that I'm worthy. I'm still inherently worthy. Even when I don't think I'm loved. I feel like, man, that person meditates more. They must be closer to God than me. That person could, you know what I'm saying? He knows a little bit more scripture. They must be closer to God than me. They fast. They must be closer to the, no. The moment he turned, while he was still far off in consciousness, while he still thought he was unworthy, it's just not clicking yet. I need another technique. I need something else to do. Another teaching, another book. The Father came out and met him. You understand how divine that is. Now let's keep going because there's more gems in here. Not only did the Father come meet him, but the Father threw a party for him. He gave him 3 things. He gave him a ring, a robe, and some shoes. Ring, robe, shoes. Sounds nice. Real player. Real player if you ask your boy, okay? What do these things represent? What do these things represent? The robe represents what? His identity. He gets his identity back as the robe. The robe is, he's clothed back in his identity as a son of the divine, as the divine. What does the ring represent? His authority. When you know that you are source, now you know that you are reality. You have the authority, and what you speak is law. And then his shoes. What does that represent? His path is made straight again because he knows that he is source. Boom. Now, let's go a little bit further in the story. The older brother comes and peeks out of his little attic. And he says, Father, I've been with you the whole time. You've never done anything like that for me. What do I get? I remember the older brother typically represents ego. Right? And so the Father says, yeah, of course, you've been with me the whole time. And everything that I have is yours as well. So what does the older brother represent? He represents somebody that's stuck in logic, trying to use spiritual or trying to use the logical mind to explain spiritual trying to use the logical mind to explain a spiritual process. If I've been affirming for X amount of time, I've been doing this for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. It still hasn't worked out, but they just turned back and they're doing it. Right? Trying to use logic. Well, I meditate more. Well, I do this more. Well, maybe if I do this more. Acting like you deserve it more because you do more shit. Or because you are a certain person where, while the spirit of the divine is closer to you than it is to anybody. It's closer to me than it is to anybody. Because it's within all of us. There's no distance between me and the divine. There is no ranking. Right? So This is what that story means. It takes you through the process of, quote unquote, leaving the divine, which you never can, and being reunited. Remembering who you've been the whole time. Okay? Then it talks about the Father who always is ready to embrace you, giving you back everything that you need, your identity, your power, your authority. It talks about the spiritual ego, thinking that somebody else can be closer to God, thinking that you deserve it more because you've done more processes, because they have done more sleep tapes. Ask yourself, well, what affirmation did you use? Mine was more specific. How come I don't have it? Trying to add this logic to something spiritual. Okay? Cool. I trust that helped. So here we go. When we stop seeking love, peace, or prosperity as something external, we awaken to the truth. They've always been flowing from within. Okay? When the drop in the ocean knows itself as the ocean, lack dissolves, striving ends, and the current of life flows effortlessly through you because you no longer resist the truth that you are it. It's exactly like a person who says life isn't fair. It's a great example. It's exactly like the person who says life isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? Constantly addicted to identifying themselves as the external reality, wondering why nothing changes, doing the same shit over and over again, always sitting here saying it's never working out, always complaining about things out there, refusing to choose their identity, and then wondering why nothing changes, doing the same shit, expecting a different result is called... What's that called? Somebody say the goddamn word. Doing the same shit and expecting a different fucking result is what? Thank you, Sauce. Thank you, y'all. Insanity. Insanity is straight jacket worthy. Okay? Cool. All right, number 3. The reflection of love and prosperity. The reflection of love and prosperity. Love may appear through people, money, or circumstance, but these are only mirrors reflecting the love you already are. Love may show up in my life, but I'm love without it. That person may show up in my life, but I'm love with or without them. They just show up as a token from myself to enjoy the love that I am. But I am that I am no matter what. Whether you show up or not, I still am it, but I choose that you will show up. But you don't define me. You were never the gatekeeper to the love that I am. Cool. Here we go. When you see beauty in another, it is your own divine radiance shining back at you. When you receive abundance, it is simply God rewarding God for remembering itself. When you receive abundance, it's simply God rewarding God for remembering itself. Even without the outer form, you are complete. So as Jesus said, right, Luke 17:21, the kingdom is within you. The kingdom is a perception and not a place, right? Obviously, because Jesus said, well, no one will say low here, low there, for the kingdom is something that's not observable with the eyes. It's within you. It is the remembrance of your wholeness. So here's another quote from the Buddha, right? We talked about this earlier, but hopefully this one hits different when I say this, okay? You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. When you know yourself as love, you return to the source of all creation. Because like we said earlier, right? For God is not merely love. God is the act of loving through you. How many more sections we got? I feel like I've been taking detours at every section. All right, so this is section 4. All right, here we go. We might be in for a minute today, y'all. The mind, caught in illusion for so long, will still feel doubt, fear, and lack. We know this, right? I am the divine, right? I am God. I am prosperity. This is the knowing. I accept it. This is just the truth. It's just the truth. It's just the triggity truth. Now, even when I accept that truth, the mind has been caught in illusion, it is going to still feel doubt, or it might still feel doubt, fear, and lack, right? Some of y'all were dropped in your heads, so you feel no doubt, no fear, no lack. Never have, right? But your head is also big as motherfucker. So, but these are shadows, right? These are shadows, not the substance. The doubt, the fear, the lack, those feelings, right? They are shadows and not the substance. Now, literal shadows, okay? Literal shadows. So let's think about this, okay? If my doubt, fear, right? If the lack, if the circumstance is just a shadow of the truth that I am, right? Everybody now is signing up for sessions asking me to hit them over the head. Alex, so were you serious about some people don't feel? And you said it was because they got hit over their head? So just wondering. Take your ass on, all right? So here we go. If all of these things, the circumstances, the feelings, the thoughts, if they're simply shadows, what sense does it make to fix the shadow? Would you take your shadow to therapy? Would you look at your shadow and say, God damn, I need to change the shirt on my shadow? God damn, let me change the darkness on the shadow. No, you understand that you simply change the light that casts the shadow, right? This is what reality is. Trying to convince your mind that you are prosperity is like trying to take your shadow to therapy. It's straitjacket time for you. It is straitjacket time for you. They're just echoes. They're just shadows, okay? They're clouds passing before the eternal sun of your divine awareness. When you say, if I had more money, then I would feel prosperous, you've forgotten the I am that precedes all conditions. You have made prosperity conditional when spirit is unconditional. Right? When you say, if I had more money, then I would feel prosperous, you are unconsciously creating distance between yourself and God. You place divinity on layaway, waiting for circumstances to validate your worth. The if-then mindset is the silent killer of faith because it treats God as a negotiator rather than the source. The if-then mindset. This is what I mean when I say that. Well, if they're here, Alex, then how come I don't see them here? Well, if I was prosperity, how come I don't feel like this? Well, if you're such a master manifester, how come you don't have this? The if-then statement, making God conditional. Okay? The if-then mindset. It says, I will believe once I see. When the truth has always been, you will see once you know. You will see once you know. Okay? Let me go there. Let me change that word. Every time you make peace, love, or abundance depend on an external outcome, you're worshiping the illusion instead of the infinite. You're saying, in essence, that God is not enough until something else happens. And that thought alone, that belief alone, that knowing alone is what keeps you trapped in the cycle of waiting. Spirit is unconditional. It does not operate in transactions. It operates in truth. When you say, if this happens, then I will feel blessed, you've forgotten that blessing is a state of being and not a future reward. Oh, shit. Did you hear what I said? When you say, if this happens, then I'll feel blessed, you have forgotten that blessing is a state of being. It's not a future reward. The I am can't be postponed. The more you tie your divinity to outcomes, the more you deny its presence in the now. God does not meet you after the manifestation. God is the awareness that brings it forth. When you drop the if and remember I am, The conditions melt away because you're no longer living from the lack of what is missing. You finally decide to step in the fullness of what already is. It's remembrance, right? This is always about remembrance. It's always about remembrance, okay? So here's another quote. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. We all know that, right? That's a very popular quote. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The outer is not a cause. The outer is an echo, okay? To wait for proof is to deny the truth that already is. There we go. Let me bold that shit and underline it for y'all ass. All right. To wait for proof. To wait for proof is to deny the truth that already is. This is what you're doing. When you are waiting for proof, you are denying the truth that already exists within you, that you are already that which you desire to be. You are already God. The truth is you're already it. When you're waiting for it, you're denying that you're already it. Do you see that? Love that for you. Love that for you, goddess. That's the only step, right? It's now, right? When you wait for proof, you deny the truth that already is. Cool. Numero 5. To live in divine remembrance is to walk with the awareness, I am already that which I seek. When the mind says, if I feel better, then I will be loved. If I feel better, then I will be healed. The spirit whispers, you are love itself. Therefore you feel. Therefore you feel. You are love itself. Therefore you feel. All right. So Psalms. Let's go to Psalm 46:10. My favorite. Be still, right? Or as some of the translations say, cease striving and know that I'm God. Now remember, the be still doesn't mean that you have to sit in meditation. It means stillness as in clarity. Okay? Stillness as in clarity. My outfit look like it's from Temu for real. I don't think it does. I was just thinking back on that comment for a second. I got caught in the past. My bad, y'all. Let me get back into the present, all right? So be still means to be rooted in remembrance. To be rooted in remembrance. Stillness, all right? So when we talk about stillness, we're not talking about just you sitting here. We're not talking about you just sitting here and being in deep meditation, okay? It is not the absence of motion. It's simply the awareness beneath the motion. It's the knowing that I'm source. Be still and know that I'm God means, okay, cool. Like we were talking about earlier, right? And my technique is inhale, I am God. Exhale, I decide. Boom, that's it. Recentered into the knowing that I'm God. Now, from this knowing, from the stillness, the clarity that I accept the truth that I am God, I do whatever, right? It's motion. I move. I am. I be. I exist from that core knowing. All right? So be still means to be rooted in remembrance. It's not the absence of motion, but the awareness beneath all motion. So quote from Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, right? Gospel of Thomas. All right. I'm finna get on your ass, man. The kingdom is spread out upon the earth, but men do not see it. The kingdom is spread out upon the earth, but men do not see it. What he meant, or what whoever wrote this meant, right? What whoever that tried to quote Jesus a couple hundred years after he died meant was that heaven is a frequency and not a destination. You are walking through heaven now, blinded only by belief in separation. You are in the middle of your desire. You're in the middle of the fulfillment of your desire right now. You're just blinded by the belief in separation. So number 6, the practice of remembrance. Right? I'm walking y'all through this shit. I'm walking y'all through this shit right now, right? We started off with just the foundational knowing that you're God. We went through, it's very good. We went through all existence exists. We collapsed it into the knowing that you are God, right? We went back to, okay, you're the reflection of love and prosperity. We went to moving beyond the illusion. living in the I am now, and now we're getting to the practice of remembrance. I'm just walking you through this shit. This is a fucking class. This is a A through Z course to get what the hell you want. Foundational, I am God. Now we're into the practice of remembrance, okay? Every moment, every breath, every moment is an invitation to remember. When lack arises, right? Pop quiz. Pop quiz, I just feel like it, all right? Let's talk about this, okay? Every moment is an invitation to remember. Okay? You heard that. When lack arises, what do? When lack arises, what is there to do? Remember, what do I do is always the wrong question. Who do I remember that I am is always the right question. So when the feeling of lack arises, when the doubt arises, when the circumstance arises, right? You don't have to denounce it per se. It has no power, right? You remember abundance. You remember the truth of who you are. Nothing to do. You simply remember who you are. When those things rise, you remember. You're the creator. You're the source. You are all that there is. Remember. 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 When fear whispers, remember peace. When the doubt speaks, what do you remember? When doubt speaks, what do you remember? What do you remember when doubt speaks? Give you an example of when doubt speaks. You've been trying to get your SP and the mind says, shit, ain't shit working. They're not even here. I wonder what they're even thinking. They're probably doing something. They're probably with somebody else. Yada, yada, yada. Hooty, hooty, hoo. Woody, woody, wop. Okay? And then you say what? You remember the truth. I am source, right? I am the Father are one. Everything exists within me. I am that. I'm already that which I desire to be. They can't leave me because they are already me. You remember. Y'all love examples. Y'all love to get real practical with me sometimes. I got you. When fear whispers, what does fear sound like to you? I'm sure it sounds like different things to different people. You remember peace. You remember the truth of who you are. Now, what am I really getting at here? There's something that's not hidden at all that I'm really pushing you towards right now. What could it be? Yeah, all these are streamed to live. They're on YouTube right now. They're streaming right now on YouTube. What am I really pushing you towards right now? Towards your divinity, towards your God. I ain't gonna lie, after I said that, I started thinking about something else again. I started thinking about the Temu comment again, and I completely forgot about what I was gonna say. So I'm just going to wing it and say that I was going to say, I am pushing you to the remembrance that you are God. Because a lot of y'all said that. I don't really think that's what it was. I think it was something a little bit deeper than that. That sounds like my mother-in-law. So do you have to do something? Now, that's a great question. That question always comes up, right? Do you have to do something? I've told y'all miraculous examples of things happening in life that seem like a miracle, right? I told y'all about the woman that she never played the lottery. She found a lottery ticket and won all the money that she needed. And she decided she wasn't going to do shit. And she already had the money. All right. Now, this is what I will say is that your life will only reflect what you believe as a miracle, what you believe is possible. So if you have the belief that you have to do something physically, well, then that's what it'll be. Okay. But that's no different than saying that you have to affirm. Me saying that I have to do something, like me having to do something, it's no different than saying I have to affirm. Now, when you pull the identity of, I am prosperity, most, I'm not going to say all, because I can't speak for all people. I would assume that most people, when they say that they're prosperity, they're going to start to open themselves up to the path of doing new things to open up more ways of making money naturally. It's going to flow. They're going to constantly be in the knowing that their prosperity is going to lead to them doing more things. Okay. Naturally. But this is where I want to be very clear. And I'll use trading as an example. Okay. When I was starting off trading, I was also in this reality creation space. And I was trying to decide that I was prosperity. I was trying to decide I was prosperity. I'm prosperity, yada, yada, yada. But I was constantly saying that, but then I would get into the market and I would say, okay, well, if I'm prosperity, then I'll have to win this next trade. And so I put all of this effort on everything that I did. If I'm prosperity, then it has to look like this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. This has to be the result. Okay? So I'm constantly reaching out there. What clicked was the decision that I was already prosperity. Therefore, everything I do, I simply do it because I want to do it, but I'm already prosperity. And that was the change that allowed me to actually make money in the market, is when I stopped trying to force myself to be prosperity in every single trade. And I just knew that I was it unconditionally. And from the knowing that I was it, I was actually able to be still and know that I'm God. So I knew it, that I was prosperity. And so now I walk through life and everything is magical. Everything becomes prosperity because I am prosperity, right? I'm not sitting here chasing trades all day. If I see it, I don't turn on the charts at 2 p.m. and all of a sudden I lose all of my fucking return because I'm chasing the market around it, because I see something that I like and I don't have the discipline to stop because I'm already prosperity. So when you unconditionally step into the knowing of who you are, you don't have to do anything, but you will be led to do things, or you won't. Either way, you still are prosperity. Now, I would challenge you and I would say, well, there are people that make millions of dollars off feet pics right now. They make millions of dollars off of feet pics. So, I mean, it can't be that hard to get a whole lot of money. Once you start, and when I first got into trading, it blew my mind because it was like, damn, you can make all this money from doing nothing. And now that I have the skill and I see how the money can exponentially just roll over and increase, is more necessary? Is it necessary? That's up to y'all to decide. I'm simply giving a perspective. Why I do so much, right? Why I read a lot and I do certain things and work out and all those things is because I enjoy it. Because that's just who I am. I like to have my day full. I like to have a somewhat full day, right? However, could these things happen even without? Would I still be prosperity without it? Well, yeah. Well, those things don't decide. Those things don't determine my prosperity. I am prosperity. Right? Those things don't determine my prosperity. I am it. Cool. Yeah, trading, man. It'll expose your mindset for sure. Yeah. Stuff comes to you in that remembrance. Absolutely. What if you have no problem bringing in love, prosperity, etc., but you have an issue keeping it? RD, what did you just say? The answer is in the question. You tell me. If I asked you that question, what would you tell me? Read that question again. If I told you I had an issue keeping it, if I was aware enough to tell you that I have an issue in my life of keeping something, if I've identified as having an issue, if I've identified with having some kind of problem in my life, what would you tell me? Yep. Yes, Alexis. Yes, Alyssa. Alyssa, we've talked about this 5-6 times. You always tell me that. You always say the same thing. You're like, oh, well, Neville says to feel it. And I always say, well, no, he didn't. He said, when I speak of feelings, I do not speak of emotions, but the acceptance of the fact that you're already the person you desire to be. You can choose to keep doing that, which has not yielded you any results. You can choose to keep going back to that story that you have to feel something. How am I going to feel like a millionaire if I'm broke? How do I feel like I have somebody when I don't have them? So you guys, that shit is just going to lead you to the fucking mental hospital trying to feel like you have something when you don't. Your feelings change all the time. How am I tell somebody that's in pain, oh, to be healed, just don't feel the pain? What sense does that make? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. How the hell can I tell you, oh, if you're in pain, don't feel pain and then you'll be healed? What? Oh, if you're broke, just feel like you have money, but the bills do. What are you talking about? Huh? It's about knowing who you are, right? Belief is irrelevant. Doubt is irrelevant. It's about knowing. You know it as just a fact. It's just the truth. It's not debatable, right? Doesn't mean you feel any kind of way about it. You accept it as the truth. This is the truth. I am God is the truth. I am already what I desire to be. It's just the truth. The mind, belief is for the mind, and belief is for the ego mind. And the ego mind doesn't create. So we try to convince the ego mind to come on the journey with us when it's not designed to come on the journey with you. It's just designed to keep you safe. It's just designed to give you feedback in this physical reality. But yes, RD, it's not the truth, right? You're not in there is no pattern of you not being able to hold on to things. There's no pattern that's holding on to you. There is you holding on to the story of a pattern. It's never about what's holding on to us. It's always about what we're holding on to. Okay? From right now, accept the truth of who you are. Accept that nothing can leave you because you are the source of it. How did I become? I actually became profitable pretty quick. It was quick. It was probably about 4 months, maybe 3-4 months. But because I simply decided that I was going to be profitable, and I studied night and day 24/7 until it clicked. And once I got a strategy and I back tested it, and it was just about the numbers. Now, I don't think about my trades. I just do them. I see what I want. I get in, I get out. I don't deviate. And I know that I'm prosperity with or without it. I mean, if the market shut down tomorrow, I would still be prosperity. I would still get it. All of a sudden, I have enough evidence to know it's done and realize I've been withholding happiness. If you're trying to manifest an SP, but all you do is stay inside, you ain't got to do. Nah. If you have to move, you will move, right? Somebody will call you and be like, hey, bro, I need a ride. My car is broken. You would go drive to them. They'll be like, hey, bro, I need to eat. Please stop here. And boom, your SP will be there and y'all will talk, right? If you have to move, you will move. To believe that you physically have to get up and do something is you doubting the intelligence of the divine to move everything perfectly for you. You think about people and they call you. But all of a sudden, when we start thinking about a specific person, we're like, oh, well, if I'm not doing this or doing that, I can't get them. What? They are you. They're within you. They can't leave you. They're not out there. They exist within you. They're here and now because they are you right now. They can't be with anybody else because there's only you. There is nobody else. Oh, the people will find you when you believe you are it. If that ain't the truth. If that ain't the truth. All right. Yeah, all my SPs have been random. Like, I'll block them and they'll hit. Oh, God. I know that's. See, see, if I say that, that's going to become a problem because, you know, some of y'all know the issue. Sometimes you have people that you gotta block. But they find fake accounts to watch you, or you might say the wrong thing. All of a sudden, they take that as a divine sign. Well, that's not a fucking sign. All right, if you're listening, that's not a sign. Okay, but yeah, like, you can't stop. Like, if you decide somebody is you, you can't they're you. You can't stop it. You can't stop it unless you choose. All right, so. Let's end right there. I think that was a good masterclass. You just know it's that simple, even if I don't feel like it isn't. It isn't that faking it. Nope, it's not faking. It's creation. You faking it is pretending that the illusion is real. You faking it is thinking that little ego thought is greater than God within you. You faking it is thinking that what you see right here in this one moment is bigger than the eternity within you. That's faking it. The truth is that you are already everything you desire to be. You've simply been turning it and believing in the illusion this whole time. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. Right? Love y'all more. Mend that heart, Maria. How do you handle your tough times? You handle them with presence and grace, right? You love yourself through them. You allow them to be there. How about the anger and hurt I feel? I'm still hurt, even though I'm mad, angry, and I have no proof. The best way to get out of a low vibration, the best way to deal with anger, all of that, is to just go through it. That's the best way. The best way is to treat yourself kindly and go through that feeling. Go through that anger. Go through it. Give yourself presence. Be there for yourself as you go through it. I've never been in anybody else's brain. I've never experienced how somebody else deals with heartbreak. I've never experienced the feeling of someone else's heartbreak. I've only experienced mine. You've only experienced yours. There's no one that could sit here and give you a play-by-play on how to go through it. You have to allow yourself to go through it. But won't it go into superconscious? I don't even know what that means. That sounds like some kind of spiritual myth. I don't even know what that means. Won't it go to this? Won't it go to the supercon? What is that? What is that? Won't what go to the superconscious? And then what happens? Nah, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going to a subconscious, superconscious, unconscious, big conscious, little conscious, none of that, right? It's just it's just you processing the emotion. It's just you processing the emotion. No, I know what it meant. I was just being a smart ass. I got y'all. I was just being a smart ass. No, it's not going to do anything to you. It's not going to do anything to you. Just, oh, my bad. Can y'all hear me? See, I said I've blocked some SPs and they call, and all of a sudden, I start getting calls from random numbers now. See, that's what happens. But all right, y'all, I gotta jump off of here. I love y'all though. Okay, love y'all, and I will talk to y'all again soon. Your boy's just kind of tired. It's been a day. I just wanted to get on here and give back do a little live stream because I just felt like it. But my car insurance.